Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin and I'm here today to talk about, what are they calling them? Well, first about Turing machines. Oh, I hate that. Turing machines. And second about termites, which are 2D Turing machines. 2D TMs. See if I did that right. Hey, not bad. Anyway, a Turing machine is a theoretical computing machine conceived of by Alan Turing, although there's been some reports of similar things talked about earlier. But basically, you've got a tape, and that tape is full of cells. I probably should use a finer pen for this, but that can scroll left and right infinitely. It's an infinitely long tape. And then on a single cell, there is something called a read-write head, which has the ability to look at and scan the contents of that cell, to take it in and process it, and then to write anything back out to the cell. So the cells can contain symbols or colors, like a 1 or a 2 or an X. Let me change the color to a nice contrasting green. And so if an X is read in by the read-write head, it could write something else back out. It could say, whenever you read an X, write out a 0. And in this way, and also instructions about how to move left or right. And altogether, these instructions are called tuples. So each time a symbol is read or written, there's an accompanying instruction written as a series of commands. And, it's like a tuple is a fixed number of those commands. And it executes the tuple, moves it left and right, reads a symbol, writes a symbol, and continues, and can go on pretty much forever. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because my product, Pipulate, does something very like this, but with some fixed values in those tuples. So, Pipulate is about doing this trick, but with fixed values, conventional values, in some portion of the tuple. Poop, poop, belongs to Pipulate. And it creates a conventional behavior. And one of people's favorite things about Turing machines is to create variations of them, of which Turmite is one of them. And it's two-dimensional because instead of the going out infinitely left and right, what it does is it takes a piece of that tape, lines it up with another piece of tape immediately beneath it. And things like line returns are suddenly within the vocabulary of a Turing machine, one of the types of commands or machine instruction sets, or whatever you will, now is going to be how to deal with getting to the end. Or it could just be made transparent as part of the system, that it almost behaves as if it were this in nature, the left-right infinitely, and it could go up and down infinitely potentially. But we're not going to allow it to do that because in my use, let's use a sort of a baby blue for that. For my use, this becomes Google Spreadsheets. Right? You get that? So then where does this read-write head come from? What is doing that left-right sweeping and sort of following this directional pattern going down? That's the convention. It's sort of a lawnmower-y sweep. Processing it. what is looking at these cells, looking for the values, pulling stuff out, putting stuff in? Well, that tends to be, well, in fact, let me undo that, because if I just draw these arrows correctly, it'll be self-evident. Pipulate can look and do that whole read-write head thing. This is the read-write head. Pipulate is the read-write head in these situations. That arrow is confusing, but you see the point is, this is a whole Python web server. Let me do a little erasing. Whoa. Okay, sheets, that'll make the point still. But what's living right here, let's choose a new color, something that hasn't been used. Red is a Python server. Oh, I'm still in eraser. That'll do it. That's a Python server. %100% under your control. The Turing read-write head is the Pipulate server, and the tape of the Turing machine is Google Spreadsheets. And there's a little bit of conventional behavior about how things are handled, the movement of the head, but all that is fixed values in a tuple instruction set, locking a few things in place. Of course, Pipulate is far more powerful than the conventional behavior that I'm putting into it. I'm just making it follow a conventional behavior so that marketing type people can do fairly sophisticated investigations into things that hit multiple data sources like PageRank and Moz domain authority type stuff, and combine it with search rankings and, you know, that sort of thing, in a very lightweight environment that's accessible to a lot of people, has permission controls, probably better security than most people's networks by these days. Being able to use Google Docs for some of this competitive intelligence stuff is just going to be a matter of course. Sure, it's buying the Kool-Aid, but in some things, Google has become sort of the infrastructure of the internet. You can think of it that way. And in things that have the functionality of Google Spreadsheets, matrices type processing accessible to the average person, well, there's not a lot of other stuff like that. There's stuff out there. It's just for more computer sciencey people to use. So my intent is to bring Turing machine type processing in a natural and easy to use environment to marketing people who need to do investigations just of this sort. And I say marketing people, but it's, you know, anyone who has to do automation from which it would be convenient to control from a spreadsheet. Let's put it like that. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I think I've recorded enough here. Hope to talk to you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.